Hello, friends. Welcome back. We are here live from Google I/O at Shoreline Amphitheater. I'm your host, Arthur Soroken, co-founder of the Google's AI Futures Fund, where we strategically invest in startups that are building the next innovation of AI. You heard, like I said earlier, you heard yesterday during the keynote, etc., a bunch of products that Google shipped, 0 to 1 products that Google was shipping. That was all fantastic, a lot of great launches, but I'm here actually to talk about all the 0 to 1 innovation that's happening on the outside. So I get the privilege of interviewing some of AI Future Fund portfolio companies, family, friends, etc. So I am very, very excited to introduce my next guest, Bianca. She is the CEO and founder of Wearing, and it is one of my favorite apps. And I have a secret before you say anything. I've done a podcast with you before. You've seen me at Cloud Next a few weeks ago, and you knew everything. You had all my looks. I had to use Wearing to pair something new today, and so the secret's out. So I had to do that. All right, good. Bianca, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, before we jump into all the things, a lot of builders out there and listeners, they're in this phase of like, well, how do you start with an idea? And so I'd love for you to talk about the Wearing origin story.
I love that, and it feels like such a throwback in the new age of AI. So we launched in 2022, and everything was driven by two worlds kind of colliding. One was my own kind of introspective journey where I wanted to make the most of the clothes that I already owned. I wanted to have a personal stylist in my pocket, which at the time felt like an insane concept. But I was also working in banking for some of the biggest family offices in the world, worked on a couple of fashion tech IPOs, and I was like, hang on, this data segment around wardrobes and what their content is, how they're used, is invaluable, and it's a black box, and I want to democratize it.
I love that. Wait, background is amazing. So your background is in finance. It's
Yes.
incredible mix. All right, I would love to jump into the product. How does the product work? I want the world to know about this. How does the product work?
So we are democratizing access to both styling, but also community-driven styling, which is so exciting, by digitizing the world's wardrobes. So we basically help people take pictures of all of the clothes that they already own in order to help put together looks based on their mood, the weather, or occasion. The product has come a long way from its initial kind of version, and now it's all about you styling your friends, adding things to your wish list, drawing on inspiration, and using AI to recreate these looks with the things you already have.
That is incredible.
So it's like Clueless in a bottle.
Hey, one of the
in an app.
Classic movie. I always thought like, oh, the Clueless movie, was it inspired? Was the app inspired by that?
100%.
Yes.
100%.
That's what I want to know.
I was like, what joins the boomers, the millennials, and the Gen Zs? And this is the pop cultural phenomenon that does it.
All right. So next thing I have to ask. So now, when I think about fashion apps and AI, I mean, talk to me. What is AI? How is AI helping? What are you doing with Google? I'd love to hear all the things.
I mean, first of all, we're so excited to be collaborating with you guys. Getting early access to some of your models, sharing feedback around these things has really shaped the way that we think about our product, but also our speed of iteration and how quickly we can get to market, which is ultimately the goal of, I think, any founder, right? How can I ship better things quicker to the people that matter and that want to interact with it? So I think there are three focal areas for us in terms of our AI journey. The first is conversational chat that helps give you insight on how is your personal style evolving, what items you should resell and when for what price, how to elevate an outfit as you're stepping on to like a TV appearance or whatever your bag is. The second thing is thinking about how we digitize your wardrobes, how we take the work away from the user. So we've been working with you guys on features like gallery scanning that digitizes straight from your camera roll or your Instagram. Again, totally revolutionizing that barrier to entry. And then the third is really experiential stuff like bringing virtual try-on, color analysis, and really upping the game when it comes to our styling functionality based on, as I said, mood, weather, and destination ultimately.
That's incredible. And then what models are you using today in product? Yeah.
A bunch of them. I will divert to my CTO
Great.
on that. But I know like Nano Banana is like
Nano
revolutionized.
You're using 2.5, I believe.
Definitely.
for like a photo analysis.
Absolutely. And I think that's changed the name of the game for how quickly we can do that and also how cost efficiently we can do it.
How much, I was talking to a guest earlier, and I was thinking about this moment of, well, AI is moving so fast, and from idea to there's a moment where you can build this idea. Do you have that moment in mind of like, oh, that was the feature where I said, oh, I can build this app now and today, and let's go?
Oh my God, yeah. I think the real aha moment for me was actually a couple of months ago. After chatting to one of your incredible PMs, shout out to Paige, if I'm allowed to do that,
yes.
Where we basically had this incredible realization that the business that we had built in today's world no longer needs to be exactly the same, and they're totally different routes to market, but also totally different feature sets that actually matter to today's customer. And so now it's less about digitizing your wardrobe, but more about how do we onboard and add value, whether it's styling, conversational stuff, without the digitization piece being done, and we do that over time. And that's just shifted the whole model on its head, right? Because we can today provide value in terms of styling input without having access to your whole wardrobe, and help you build that over time by you logging, selfies of what you're wearing on the daily basis in your calendar, which just changes the whole model, and has allowed us to bring a lot of our social features to the fore.
Do you find that, I love that, do you find that your users are tech forward and centric, or the tech's behind the scene? How do you think about AI and tech being at the forefront versus behind the scene and actually providing that, that wardrobe personalized stylist?
It's a great question. I think, for our users, there's definitely a big split in the demographic. We're very kind of circular, fashion focused, and a lot of the kind of power user cohorts. But I think we have a growing, very tech savvy, young Gen Z, hungry, user base that understands how AI can support in the way that they want the output to kind of be formed and kind of given to them in this new age. And so it's been really interesting to balance the two. And so I think we've kept parts of the app very kind of AI behind the scenes, right? We're doing computer vision to kind of automatically crop and kind of tag items as you upload them or enhance them with really cool features like Enhance that are just about to launch. But also bringing some of the AI forward stuff right into the main user journey, with like our chat being at the forefront of like the nav bar, so that people who are interested in it know how to access it, while staying true to our brand mission to reduce environmental impact where we can.
That's right. And so many models out there, and everyone's shipping something new every week, and cost is a thing for especially our Gen Media models. It's a big thing for all Gen Media models.
Yeah.
How do you think about what you test, what you launch? How do you think about those things from a user perspective? Yeah.
Incredible question. I think three key things for us. We've got we've been doing this a while, launched in 2022.
Wow.
So we've got an incredible backlog of user research, hundreds of thousands of messages from 10 million users globally, what they want to see up front. So we're doing a lot of like strategic prioritization of that backlog now that we can move so much faster. The second thing for us is really thinking about how can we beat the cultural zeitgeist? So how do we get tastemakers involved, and how do we prioritize getting their experience into what we prioritize and therefore ship, so that we have this really cool mix of like AI-enabled styling whilst relying on really cool, democratized, human-based input, which has been really interesting and a fun conversation to have.
Totally.
And then lastly, I think we're also very forward in terms of I think where we want the product to be, and I think voice is going to be a big thing for us in the future. And I think we're from a cost kind of output perspective, that's probably where we're going to head with some of our features, and then gate some of the most cog-heavy AI features behind paywalls.
I think that's very smart. If I also think about your product, I think about, it's for styling, so it has this, a really clean UI, and I'm curious how intentional that is, of like you're building a stylist for styling yourself, and you also have to build a product that also probably has to look like a fashion product as well. So how intentional is your product? Because it is beautiful, but how intentional is that?
Thank you. So I think it's been something that's been top of mind for a really long time. I think we view community building and brand building as, two competitive moats. And I think the intentionality behind the brand and how we want to show up and the experience we want to create, we call it wardrobe zen, and that's ultimately kind of our goal in terms of UX, UI. When you land on the app, we want it to feel like this safe space where, you can put together outfits, you can riff with our AI, you can, experiment in a really safe manner. And so I think it's been really interesting because it's something that we've prioritized from the very get-go, and I think it's stood us in really good stead. We also have a lot of very vocal users who are like, guys, this needs to look and feel great.
That's right.
So we've also been, very politely guided
I love that.
by our user base.
That's incredible. Maybe one last quick question for you. I'm sure you have many good stories. Do you have one quick story of a user that is using the app? And I would love to hear one of your user stories.
Oh my God, I have 1,000 different iterations of this because I spend every single waking moment. I literally talk to users on a weekly basis, probably daily basis. I think the coolest one was we were reaching out to a massive corporate. I don't want to name them right yet because we're not announcing it yet, but for a big partnership opportunity that was going to lead to incredible support on our go-to-market in different markets that are really important to us. Reached out to their head of marketing. She was like, I love what you do. I was one of your first users when you launched the beta program, and it was just the most incredible full circle moment. Pulled off the partnership. We went to have lunch. We hugged it out, and I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
I love it. Builders, stay close to your people, to your users.
100%. Come to Founders. Amazing things happen.
So good. Bianca, I could do this all day with you. You're one of my favorite humans. Your entire team is styled right. You are styled right. Thank you so much for doing this for me.
Thanks so much for having me. This was awesome.
This is awesome.